How's it going, everybody? My name is LuckyBunz, and in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the Mischief Unbound event in Pokemon Go. Now, as always, if you guys do end up enjoying this video, if you could please smash that like button down below, it'd help me out a ton with the YouTube algorithm. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so before we actually dive into the Mischief Unbound event in Pokemon Go, I want to quickly go over the Ed Sheeran event. So first of all, this event is going to take place from November 22nd at 11 AM to November 30th at 1 PM. And this event was kind of random. Like, honestly, a lot of Pokemon Go players have really mixed feelings about it. But most likely this event has already started in your local time. So pretty much the focus of this event is just Squirtle with sunglasses, because Squirtle is Ed Sheeran's favorite Pokemon. We do have a couple other things I do want to mention though. So there is a code to get a free avatar item in the shop. I'm going to leave that on screen right now. There's also a free box in the in-game shop that contains some berries, a lure module, and some Pokeballs. And then when it comes down to Squirtle with sunglasses and the field research task, there's going to be two. The first one is to walk 1 kilometer with your buddy, and the second one is to complete 7 field research tasks, which is kind of a weird task. I mean, that's going to take up a slot, so then you're going to have the other 2 slots to complete up to 7. So that's a really weird one. Squirtle is also going to be spawning in the wild, so you don't have to worry about doing it through research that much. Now additionally, when it comes down to the wild spawns, we're pretty much just going to have all of the water type starters from gens 1 through 6. So of course we're going to have Squirtle with sunglasses, we're going to have Totodile, Mudkip, Piplup, Oshawott, and Froakie. Now in terms of meta relevance, the ones that I would recommend focusing on are going to be Mudkip and Piplup. So Mudkip evolves into Swampert in its final evolution, and Piplup evolves into Empoleon in its final evolution. Both are really good for PvP, so definitely try to focus on getting a lot of candy for these Pokemon, as well as a good IV spread for PvP. And for those of you who are a little bit unfamiliar with how PvP IVs work, I'm going to leave a link to a video in the top right hand corner. Definitely recommend checking that out. Now there's one more thing I want to mention in regards to Piplup, and that's to not evolve it until December Community Day, which is going to take place on December 18th and December 19th. So the reason you don't want to do this early is because then you're not going to get Hydro Cannon, which is the Community Day exclusive moveset. Because Piplup was the January 2020 Com Day Pokemon, it is going to qualify for the exclusive moveset when you evolve it during this December Com Day. So basically just try to get a good IV spread during this event, as well as during Piplup Spotlight Hour on the 29th. And then evolve it into Empoleon during December Com Day, and you're pretty much golden. Now with that out of the way, let's move on over to the Mischief Unbound event. Okay, so this is pretty much the main focus of this video, and we do have a lot to go over. Like, Niantic honestly gave us a really solid event with a ton of different bonuses. This event is going to specifically take place during Thanksgiving weekend in the US, but I know in other countries you probably don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but either way, this is going to take place for the most part over the weekend. Now in regards to the bonuses for this event, we're going to have 2 times transfer candy as well as 2 times catch experience. Now I do realize that we just had Shinx Com Day with 3 times transfer candy as well as a 4 times chance to get extra large candy, but you know, you're probably going to catch a few rare Pokemon between now and then. So yeah, just save your rares and your legendary Pokemon and then just cash in. Now we've talked about this before, but there are going to be 2 ways to unlock this special research quest. The first way is going to be to complete the Misunderstood Mischief season-long special research quest, and you want to do that before December 1st at 9:59 AM. Niantic actually gave us a date this time, which is pretty nice. Now your other option, if you don't end up completing the Misunderstood Mischief quest before that deadline, is going to be that you can just buy the ticketed special research for $5. Which, I mean, I don't know if that's really worth it, but you know, we're going to go over whether or not Hoopa Unbound is actually even worth it in a separate video more in detail. But I will go over it very briefly in this one. Or I guess we'll kind of go over some details, but I'll expand on it further in another video. So first of all, one thing that you do get from the special research Mischief Unbound is going to be a Hoopa t-shirt, which really isn't the biggest deal in the world, but to some people they might think it's really cool. Now the Hoopa form change is going to work very similar to how the fashion Pokemon worked, and honestly I cannot say that Pokemon's name. It's like a tongue twister for me, so I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to put it on screen right now. We did get this Pokemon released during the season-long research though, so it kind of makes sense that they were leading up to this. Basically the form change cost is going to work this way though. In order to go from Hoopa Confined to Hoopa Unbound, it's going to cost you 50 candy and 10,000 Stardust. And then if you want to revert it back to Hoopa Confined, it's going to cost you 10 candy and 2,000 Stardust. I'm not really sure why anyone would want to revert it back, like maybe for AR photos or something like that. But this is really interesting for the future of the game because we might get Pokemon with form changes in the future, very similar to this. Now I do want to point out that the ability to change forms on Hoopa from Confined to Unbound or from Unbound to Confined is going to be unlocked after you complete the Step 2 tasks in the Mischief Unbound quest. so essentially you have to get the special research quest if you want to be able to transform Hoopa. This also means that Hoopa Unbound is going to have the same movesets as Hoopa in its confined form. So basically the best movesets for Hoopa are going to be Confusion plus Psychic or Confusion plus Shadow Ball, or if you unlock the secondary move, Confusion plus Psychic and Shadow Ball. Now there is a really key difference here that I want to point out in regards to Hoopa Confined and Hoopa Unbound. Hoopa Confined is a Psychic type and a Ghost type Pokemon, but Hoopa Unbound is a Psychic type Pokemon and a Dark type Pokemon. Now this does actually make a big difference in terms of vulnerabilities and resistances, so we'll dive into all those details a little bit more in my other video. Finally, I do want to go over the base stats though from Hoopa Confined to Hoopa Unbound. So for Hoopa Confined, we're going to have 261 attack, 187 defense, and 173 hit points, or stamina. And then when it transforms into Hoopa Unbound, the defense stat and the HP stat practically stay the same, but the attack stat gets a massive boost. So it goes all the way from 261 to 310, which is actually a higher attack stat than Mewtwo. So with those details out of the way, just wait for that other video and we're going to break this down even further. But there are a few more things that I want to go over for this event. The first thing, or the next thing I should say, is going to be raid hours. So randomly we're going to get 4 more raid hours at the end of November. So from November 26th, 27th, 28th, and 29th, they're all going to be from 6 to 7 p.m. your local time. And we actually got some really cool Pokemon. So on November 26th, we're going to have the legendary birds from Kanto, Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres. Out of all 3 of these, Moltres is probably the most meta relevant, but if you ended up getting the Shadow Forms earlier this year, this is going to be a great time to get some candy on these Pokemon, as well as the extra large candy. Oddly enough, on November 27th, we're just going to have Heatran available, which is kind of weird. Like, we haven't gotten this Pokemon in a while, but it's not really that meta relevant, and honestly, I was kind of expecting the legendary dogs on November 27th. It was really weird when I was looking at this. But yeah, we're going to have Heatran, which is, I mean, I guess it's okay if you want the shiny, I guess. I don't know. Moving on. So on November 28th, we're going to have the 3 Regis. So Regirock, Regice, and Registeel. Now when it comes down to the Regis, the most meta-relevant one is going to be Registeel for PvP. Definitely try to get a lot of candy on this Pokemon, and, you know, potentially decent IV spread for the Great League and the Ultra League. And then finally, because we haven't seen enough of the Swords of Justice already, we're going to have them back again on November 29th, Cobalion, Terrakion, and Virizion. Terrakion's pretty much the only Pokemon that's going to be meta-relevant out of this bunch for raids, so yeah, just focus on that one. Unless you guys want shinies. In that case, all these Pokemon are going to have their shiny forms available, so if you want shinies, then by all means, try and hunt that down. The shiny rate for legendary Pokemon from raids is 1 out of 19. Now I just want to point this out once again because I found it kind of strange. So on November 26th, 28th, and 29th, we have trios from 3 different regions, and then just randomly on the 27th, we have Heatran. So yeah, I don't know, just the thought process that went into that one is kind of weird in my opinion. But let's go ahead and move on over to the final thing that we're going to talk about in this video, Spotlight Hours, which is really unexpected that we're getting 4 more Spotlight Hours during the end of this month. Now normally Spotlight Hours are going to take place from 6 to 7 p.m. your local time, but because raid hours are already going to be taking place during that time slot, Niantic has actually moved Spotlight Hour during these specific days from 12 to 1 p.m. your local time. Now given that this is Thanksgiving weekend, this isn't the most inconvenient time slot to be honest, and we do have some Pokemon that are going to be worth farming. Really only 2 Pokemon that I'm looking at here, but we're going to go through all of them. So on November 26th, we're going to have Rattata, which is pretty good if you want to go for the Tiny Rat Medal or just for Evolve experience, because that's a 25 candy evolution. Yeah, it's pretty easy, but honestly, it's not meta relevant, so if you don't really care that much about XP or the Tiny Rat Medal, then you can just skip that one. But on November 27th, we're going to have Sableye, which is by far the best Spotlight Hour we could have possibly gotten. Okay, so I'm going to spend some time on this because I really like Sableye in Pokemon Go. It is so good in PvP. Now, the first thing that I want to go over is that Shadow Sableye is going to be available in the current Rocket rotation for the Team Go Rocket Grunts. If you're curious about which other Pokemon are going to be meta-relevant, I'm going to leave a link to a video in the top right-hand corner that I just recently made. Spent a lot of time going over that one, so really do recommend checking that one out if you haven't seen that already. Going back to Sableye though, so this Pokemon is really good when you purify it. You heard me right, purify it, because you want to have return on Sableye. You also want to have the extra large version for Sableye, so ideally like a really low attack IV, and then really high defense and really high stamina. And then combined with this event, it's going to be a great time to farm a ton of candy and just catch as many Sableye as you possibly can. And did I mention that Sableye also gives 750 Stardust per catch? Yeah, it's one of the Pokemon that actually give you bonus Stardust on catching it, which is actually insane. So this Pokemon is super good for PvP in the Great League, and it also is going to get you a ton of Stardust. I mean, Literally, I cannot think of a better Pokemon to have as a spotlight hour. So yeah, November 27th, 12 to 1 p.m. Try to get that time available, whatever you have to do, because this is literally something that I'm recommending so hard to focus on. Well, obviously you know what my best recommendation is, but let's talk about the rest of the spotlight hours here, which we do have one more good one. So on November 28th, we're going to have Pikachu. That's obviously not the good one that I wanted to talk about, but yeah, Pikachu is available right there, so if you guys want to work on your metal, you could do that, but if you don't really care that much, then just skip it. On November 29th, though, we do have Beldum, which is really, really awesome. So this is going to be another great opportunity to just farm a ton of candy for Metagross, because Metagross with Meteor Mash, a community exclusive moveset by the way, is the top Steel-type attacker in the game. And I totally forgot to mention this, but if you don't have any good IV spreads on Metagross, well, it's going to be a great time to actually try and get one on Beldum. You are going to have to use an Elite TM to get Meteor Mash, but if you end up getting the Hundo, that is totally 100% worth it. And that should pretty much cover everything that I wanted to go over in this video, but in case you guys want some more tips and tricks, check out these videos right here. But before you go, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you all real soon in the next one.